What's going on, guys? I'm Alex with Tech. How you doing? I have a very expensive product. We unboxed this yesterday on Instagram TV. We did it live, Instagram Live, and we also been starting to do Instagram TV stuff. So if you haven't followed us there, be sure to follow us there at Tech. A lot of cool stuff. You can interact with us as we're unboxing. I think it's a new experience. But what we're going to do on YouTube today is do a quick little... What's it been? I had this since yesterday at noon, so maybe like a 12-hour experience with the MacBook Pro Touch Bar 2018. So Apple refreshed their MacBook Pros with new processors for 2018, and it just came out of nowhere, even though a lot of us were expecting it. We've been anticipating it, but Apple didn't really announce anything, and it just dropped out there with spec updates. The model we have here is the Touch Bar because they didn't update the non-Touch Bar. We'll talk about it in a second. But the Touch Bar with Touch ID is 2.3 gigahertz processor, 256 gigabytes of RAM, has the 8th generation Intel Core i5 processor. So I have the base model, most bottom-end model you can get for this particular MacBook Pro. Has the Intel Iris Plus graphics 655, so that's a little boost. 8 gigabytes of RAM, 250 gigabytes SSD storage. Has that new Retina True Tone. So if you haven't used an iPad in recent years, you don't really see the True Tone stuff. So this is the first time it's ever been on a MacBook. It has 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports because this is the Touch Bar model. I mean, when you unbox an Apple device and you use it for the first time, rarely are you ever let down. I haven't been let down yet. The build and the finish, everything is exactly the same. Basically exactly the same as last year's Touch Bar model, the 2017 one. It's just internally that's different. But a lot of people out there, you're probably sitting there asking, so Alex, what about the butterfly keys? That is the big controversy because in 2017's model, we had that whole little piece of sand gets into your keyboard and the whole thing gets messed up. Big controversy there. Apple said they made some modifications here, but they only said something about making it softer. And the keys still type pretty loudly. It never really bothered me in previous generations of the butterfly keys, but initially, right off the bat, 6 hours into it, it doesn't really feel that different, to be honest. I have to be honest with you. Trackpad, touch bar, they're all about the same as the 2017 model. And so really the only thing you're looking forward to for this particular model for the 2018 upgrade is the internals. So we're not going to go too deeply into the specs and talk about all that good stuff because we're going to talk about it in the review video. Experiences, because 6 hours, it's really too short of a time for me to really make dramatic comments. But first impressions and things like that we'll talk about right now. But I wanted to bring up why you would potentially buy an $1,800 laptop. This is really expensive. And $1,800, you can get a really good PC. And the reason I bought this was I tried really hard the last 3-4 months to go full into Premiere. I have built a PC. I have a couple gaming PCs. I have things ready for Adobe Premiere that run pretty well. I just could not get myself fully invested into Adobe Premiere. I've used Avid and Premiere alongside Final Cut Pro 10 for the last few years, but I'm just more at home with Final Cut Pro 10. It might be because 10 years ago, I first went into the industry by learning Final Cut Pro 7. And, you know, maybe I was cutting, back then we cut film, and we had to import it to Final Cut Pro 7. And then once Final Cut Pro 10 came out, everybody upgraded to that because Final Cut Pro 7 was the deal. That was the big dog in the market. And then I went to Final Cut Pro 10, and it wasn't that great. It was honestly a disappointment for a lot of people. It got better. It got a lot better. And I actually grew really accustomed to Final Cut Pro 10, and it's my workhorse. I really like using Final Cut Pro 10 now. But I made that realization that I wanted to stick with Final Cut, so that meant I have to go back to MacBooks. Of course, you can get a Windows device and, you know, flash Mac OS onto it, but that's a whole nother story. It's just easier to do that. So you're paying a premium for certain things. So like in my situation, I decided to pay that premium for this editing device because I needed it. I need to edit every single day. In fact, I have a couple music videos and little shorts that I'm working on right now for some clients. And that's on my Mac Pro that's running in the background. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to completely go over to this, try it out, see if it lives up to my expectations, because my expectations are relatively high. They've always been for MacBooks and like the Google Pixel Book and Samsung laptops. I've always had high expectations for these products. You're paying such a high price point, you should have good expectations. This thing is $1,800. But yeah, you can buy it right now. If you have a student account too, you can get a little discount with the Beats headphones and things like that. But it is a very expensive laptop, and we're going to talk about it a lot more on this channel. And I know a lot of you guys have questions, so be sure to just leave the questions down. You can message us on Twitter, Instagram, things like that. We would love to answer them or try to our best of our abilities. Once again, I'm Alex with Tech. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this $1,800 MacBook Pro base model. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Peace.
If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, hit the bell button below so that you don't miss a single video in the future. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!